Welcome to Perlman Quadrangle and Irvine Auditorium. Irvine Auditorium is a non-smoking facility. Restrooms are located on the lower and second balcony levels. Vending machines and payphones are located only on the lower level. Assisted listening devices are available upon request. Please take time to note the exit clearly marked at the front and rear of the auditorium. If for some reason there is an emergency, please use these exits to vacate the building in an orderly fashion. For your safety and the safety of others, after exiting, please move away from the building as far as possible. Cameras or recording devices are not permitted in the auditorium. Please take the time now to silence all cell phones or beepers for thorough enjoyment of today's presentation by yourself and others.
Whoa.
Wow, smooth moves, 007.
Keep it down, Agent Ping. Assailants could be anywhere. And you know you should be practicing too. It's almost time for our secret mission.
What are you talking about?
Covert Ops. PennApps16. Come on, man. It's all anyone's been talking about around here.
Covert Ops? I don't think you have that quite right.
Stop being such a buzzkill. This weekend's gonna be great. Sneaking around, going on missions. Maybe I'll even get to take out some enemy agents with one of my secret gadgets. I've got this thing in my hat, so when I throw it, it can cut through...
Whoa. I don't think you have quite the right idea about what PennApps is all about.
So I don't need my hattering?
No.
Or my bow tie laser?
No.
What about my cyborg tail?
As long as Philadelphia doesn't fall into chaos this weekend, you should be fine without them.
Well, I mean, I guess these days you can never be too careful, right?
Leave your weapons at home, Agent. Let me show you what your actual mission is. Welcome to the home base of hackers.
Wait, so you guys just sit here and what? Write programs for 36 hours?
Well, not exactly. You see, we bond over long dinner lines and good food. We get free swag.
Why are there so many t-shirts here?
Well, these t-shirts may be the only thing hackers wear all weekend.
What? What?
We also get to experience what it's like to fall asleep after a long day of work.
You mean pass out from...
Shh. Don't tell them yet. But the real mission of PennApps is to work together with your fellow agents and make something that you're proud of.
I think I get it now. And look at the time. We better get going. Our mission awaits us. PennApps is starting soon.
Welcome to PennApps! Woo! All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Drew Agarwal.
I'm Matt, and we are going to be your MCs for this weekend.
Our official title here at PennApps is Senior Citizens. We are two very retired ex-PennApps organizers who have nothing better to do in our lives.
But in all honesty, PennApps has been a huge part of our college experience, and we're so happy to be here with you guys to help introduce PennApps and spend a great weekend.
You should get real excited because this will be a fun weekend full of working, making some really awesome stuff, definitely not sleeping, maybe crying?
Definitely crying.
Definitely crying. But more importantly, walking out of here having built something super cool that you can go back and showcase your friends and family once you're back home.
Without further ado, we want to introduce to you our fearless leader supreme, who prefers a Soylent shaken, not stirred.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Shirsat. Yash Shirsat.
Hey, everyone. It is nice to see you guys. Are you guys ready? Let's go. All right. So, PennApps is a huge undertaking. I'm sure all of you guys know. And we really couldn't have done it without some special people. So I want to give a huge thanks to Penn Engineering and all of our sponsors for everything you guys do. A big shout out to the engineering operations team led by Killian Feeney, Amy Rees, Joe Davis, the MBO team led by Mark West, Kim Marker, and finally the Dean's office led by Shambrell Jones, Ira Winston, and Dean Kumar himself.
All right, we'd now like to welcome and introduce Dean Vijay Kumar, the Nirvamasky Family Dean of the School of Engineering. He has been an incredible supporter of PennApps throughout the ages, and you might know him from his work to replace the word drone with the word flying robot. On his very own personal mission, not so covert op, Dean Vijay Kumar.
Thank you. Hello, PennApps. I am so delighted and so excited to be here and honored to be kicking this off by welcoming you all to PennApps and to Penn Engineering. Every year, believe it or not, this is a day that I look forward to. There's so much talent packed into this room, and in the hallways of Penn Engineering, I feel energized. Everyone calls me a pathological optimist, and it's days like this that give me a reason to be an optimist, because the future with all of you is bright. I too want to thank all the sponsors for bringing their cutting-edge technologies and products to this competition, our faculty and staff, of course, for supporting this event, but most especially the Penn Engineering student leadership team led by PennApps Director Yash, Vice Director Sanya, for bringing everything together, including, of course, our dashing MCs, Matt and Dhruv. I have to tell you, this year I decided I wouldn't wear a tie, but they told me that you guys would be wearing a tie, so I had to put on my tie. This amazing hackathon, I call this the Super Bowl of technology, would not have been possible without all their hard work. So thank you very much for doing this. I wanted to, for those of you who are not familiar with PennApps, I want to just go back in history. PennApps started off as a very small hackathon in 2009 with a mere 17 teams on Penn campus, and experienced a growth just like Moore's Law, an exponential growth, growing to over 2,000 people in 2015. And that was the year when the PennApps organizers decided to hold it at the Wells Fargo Center. Now, for those of you from out of town and out of the country, this is where the Philadelphia 76ers play. And let me tell you, that was the most excitement that the Wells Fargo Center saw that year, because the 76ers were not a very good team. And I'm a Sixers fan, by the way. But over the last 2 years, the organization team has reeled it in and has made it a little more manageable on the Penn campus, and for that I am obviously very delighted. This has, of course, led to more selectivity in the participation. I'm told that we had over 6,000 applications and only 1,200 participants were selected from over 20 countries. Pretty soon it'll be harder to get into PennApps than it is to get into Penn Computer Science. I know I could not get in even if I tried. So I am particularly impressed at the different countries you come from and the different walks of life. I am particularly delighted that 200 high school hackers are present here today. Let's hear it for them. Again, I'm a pathological optimist. This is wonderful. And we have hackers not just from the US, but all over the world. We have hackers from Canada, from Spain, just two, from India, Come on. From China? There's got to be some from China. United Kingdom? Well, and more importantly, I think, to support all of you, I think we have over 100 mentors from within Penn and from industry, and I'm particularly grateful to all of you. Thank you very much. Let's get a round of applause for the mentors. It's a great time to be in the field of technology for 3 reasons. First, technology is cool. You can't deny that. Second, I think it's the most rewarding of all professions. If you look at future jobs, there's not a single new job, well, maybe I exaggerate, but most new jobs are grounded in technology. So all of us who have chosen to invest in this, our future is bright. But also, the third reason, I think it's the best way to have the most impact in the world. Today, if you look at all the grand challenges that we face in our society, on our planet, food, energy, water, healthcare, infrastructure, engineering society to make it a better place, all solutions are grounded in technology. Without technology, we don't have a way of solving these insurmountable problems. So let's think back. Can you think of a single activity that you might choose to do that doesn't have these 3 attributes: cool, monetarily rewarding, and impactful? Anyone? I don't think you can. So you made the right choice. I certainly made the right choice. We're all fortunate that we are here today. But let me also say that this option was not always available. Technology was not as sexy or glamorous as it is today. Let me do a really quick recap of the history of society in 4 chapters. Chapter 1 lasted about 100 centuries. And look at the way socioeconomic growth was powered in those 100 centuries. It was mostly about agriculture and mining. That was chapter number 1. So chapter number 2 started with the Industrial Revolution and lasted 2 centuries, not 100 centuries, just 2 centuries. And that brought the transition from manual production to machines and manufacturing and steam-driven engines that powered mills and trains. Chapter 3 was the Cyber Revolution, which started with the first computer, the ENIAC, built right here at Penn in 1946, and the semiconductor innovations led by Gordon Moore in the 1960s in the Valley. And this revolution in hardware has lasted about 5 decades and powered a lot of growth that we're seeing. But it's the 4th chapter that I want to talk most about. This started only 10 years ago. So let's go back to 2007. Before 2007, we did not have the iPhone. We did not have Hadoop, Dropbox, EC2, Amazon Web Services. Facebook was known in a few college campuses. Twitter was a sound. And the cloud was something in the sky. 3D printing was not affordable. And clean tech was not a thing. Going viral meant something really, really bad. Multi-party games meant that you had 2 people with joysticks in a den in front of a 42-inch TV, which weighed about 75 kilos, a plasma TV at that. In the last 10 years, the cyber revolution has gone on steroids. Today, the top 5 companies in terms of global market cap are software companies. In fact, 40% of the top 20 companies are software companies. We have 3.4 billion internet users. So 46% of the world now uses the internet. 2.8 billion smartphone users. The average adult, not all of you, spends 3.1 hours a day on his or her smartphone. There are 2.6 billion gamers, and this stuns me. And this is not just because of Moore's law, but it's also because of Zuckerberg's law. And that is the phenomenon of connecting people to machines, machines to machines, and people to people. Moore's law and Zuckerberg's law have also changed transportation, a seemingly unlikely connection with ride-sharing both in cars and bikes. In 2007, there was healthcare and technology, two different industry sectors. Today, we have health tech, software-powered biomedical devices, instrumentation, health apps, and digital records. And the best, Chapter 5, is yet to come. We're not yet connecting computing deeply with the physical world. Yes, we are sensing the physical world, maybe even trying to make sense of the physical world. But remember, we can also take actions autonomously about the physical world, on the physical world, and that's where roboticists like me come in. But this is something that is coming and is sure to change our lives forever. And this revolution from the cyber will go to the cyber physical. Again, the cyber world connected with the physical world. And I know many of you are interested in working with hardware, and I'm personally delighted that you're interested in this aspect, connecting to physical platforms and creating exciting products by hacking. Great talent, hacking on exciting products, attracting and mentoring new talent, who in turn turn into amazing hackers and mentors. This is the PennApps circle of life. And while many of you are here today because of this excitement and because of the circle of life and because PennApps is cool, because we have great swag, we have wonderful food, an unlimited supply of Red Bull, and because you get to learn from each other, the reality is that many of you will create apps that will have a lasting impact, a positive impact on human life. I know health tech is a theme for PennApp organizers. I know entrepreneurship and sustaining good ideas is another theme for PennApps. In the last 2 years when I've been dean, I've seen many winning entries of PennApps turn into startups, and those startups being acquired. So this is a great thing for PennApps, and it exposes young talent to real opportunities that can have an impact on the world. And by the way, as you think about healthcare, the story in Washington is that they want to make it accessible and affordable. The real solution to that is probably right here in the room with health tech technologies. I know we're going to see a weekend filled with innovation, impact, and a lot of fun, and I really cannot wait to see the results. Happy hacking, everyone, and good luck. And over to the best dressed man.
Thank you very much. Everyone, one more round of applause for Dean Kumar.
All right, so we have some incredible hardware and technologies for you to work with over the course of this weekend. And now to introduce some of these technologies to you, we have our lovely sponsors. First up on deck, we have Asura. Let's hear it for them.
Hi guys, you guys can use Asura for setting up your backends during this hackathon. Asura will give you batteries included clusters that you guys can use for the backends of your applications. You can create your free cluster as soon as you sign into Asura, and you'll get a 7-day trial cluster. Every cluster comes with a console. The console kind of helps you manage the APIs and the microservices that are running on this cluster. The APIs that run on a Asura cluster can directly be integrated into your front-end application, so your Android, iOS, web, or your IoT applications, right? To check these APIs out, once you log into the console, hit the Explore button, and that will give you what the APIs are. For example, here's the auth API that comes on every Asura cluster. This lets you register and sign up new users. This API can directly be integrated into your app, and you don't have to do much. You can also create tables. So I'm creating a to-do table, for example. As soon as you create a table, you'll get APIs to select, update, insert, or delete data into these tables, right? You can also deploy custom APIs or applications or web apps that you write in your own framework. All you need for doing that is you need your source code to be inside a Git repository, and then you can just hit a Git push, and that will deploy on this cluster. You can deploy on a subdomain or a domain of your choice. The SL certificate generation will all happen automatically. There's prizes for the best stuff, of course, that's built on Asura. If you guys need any help doing or working with these APIs or working with the cluster, I'll be on the Asura channel on the PennApps Slack. You can also find me on the website chat on asura.io. We'll also be running office hours tomorrow afternoon for those of you who need help setting up your backend. Thank you, and have fun building your apps.
Next up, we have Lutron.
Hello, PennApps. There we go. Let's get some noise. Let's get some noise going in here. We're going to switch to our computer in just a second. Or maybe not. While we're doing that, let me introduce myself. My name is Jim Weber. As you can see on the screen, I've done the PennApps demo for 3 years in a row. I've been with Lutron for 10 years. I manage our Philadelphia office, and I'm a software engineer. Up on stage with me is Tomer.
I'm Tomer. I'm an application software developer. I work on Homeworks QS, and I just joined 4 weeks ago.
Which is what we like to do with all of our engineers. Give it a round for Tomer. There we go. So I'll try and do this quick. I know you guys want to get to hacking, but who is Lutron? We're an electronics manufacturer, lights, shades, sensors, a bunch of awesome stuff. Our founder created the solid-state dimmer. Before that, we used to dim lights by turning the electricity into heat with resistors. It was horrible. But now we have the solid-state dimmer. Thank you, Lutron. More importantly, we create smart buildings and smart homes. We create the devices. We create the software systems. We are part of the Internet of Things. Oh, really? I'll tell you more. So all of these things we design, we engineer, we manufacture. Our marketing team does all the marketing research for it, all the sales, all those sort of things. It's a cool place to be an engineer at. That's why I love Lutron. Where do we end up? We end up in all kinds of awesome places around the world. Our products are in some buildings that you may have heard of and buildings you may have not heard of. We are not actually on the moon. We're in NASA's Cape Canaveral, but all over the world. One day we will be outside of the Earth. Where is Lutron? We're headquartered in the Lehigh Valley, but more importantly, we have a remote engineering office for software applications engineers. Just a couple blocks from here in the FMC Tower, you can see the arrow pointing to where my desk is. And we have sales, engineering, and manufacturing facilities all around the world. Most important thing is we are here for you. We have a bunch of Lutron engineers that are going to be available as mentors for you this weekend. Additionally, we are giving out a prize, which is a starter kit for your own smart home. It comes with a bridge to connect to the internet, a plug-in lamp dimmer to dim your light for the first light that you will have as part of your smart home. And you will win that if you have the best use of Lutron's API. But what's even better is you're not just using our API. I'll show you real quick. There are 10 of these systems. And where do you think these might have come from? Well, these came from the desks of all the engineers over in the FMC Tower. They loaned them out for the weekend. Essentially, on this wall, you have 6 lights and a motorized shade that simulates a high-end Lutron system, a Lutron house. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Tomer to show you what he was able to do in his 7-hour hack. So, here you go.
All right. So basically, in a few hours, what I was able to do is kind of show an example of something you can do when you have the wall and you use the API. So what I've done is made a quick Android app, uses facial recognition, and when it detects your face, it will set the light level to your personal preference. So if we go up and take a picture of myself. You can see Tomer, that's my name. It set the lights to 50%, and we'll go ahead and take a picture of Jim over here. You want to come in? Oh.
And it thinks I'm Tomer.
Let's try again one more time, really.
And it still thinks I'm Tomer.
All right, well.
Trust me, it worked when we practiced. Either way, the punchline was that it turned off all the lights to say, you don't want to be able to see this. So we have 10 of these walls available for you guys to check out. The API is available online. If you're not able to get a wall, you could work through that and use maybe some output to show how it would interact with our walls. Have a great hack, everyone. We're really excited to see what you guys can do. Thank you.
Thanks.
I feel shown up. That's a nice bow tie there.
All right, next up on stage, we have Giphy.
Isn't it Giphy?
Isn't that peanut butter?
I don't know. They'll tell us when they
They'll
get
tell
it
us what
figured
it
it
is.
out.
All right.
Give it up, guys.
What's up? So I would like to start with we are not a peanut butter company, and it's pronounced Giphy. Thank you. All right. So I'm Mike. I'm a software engineer at Giphy, and
I'm Bethany, and I was a summer intern at Giphy on the search team.
yeah, and we are having dongle problems. How are you guys today? I'm going to try a different one, because there's 3. Oh, I think this is the right one. Okay, so I guess we don't have a slide deck, which is cool. That one didn't work either. Anyways, I'll just tell you guys like what we're here for. So Giphy is the world's largest search API on the planet. We power Facebook, Tinder, Twitter, WhatsApp, like anything that sends messages and has GIFs in them, like is usually powered by us. And we are offering an API along with an API prize. So anyone that integrates with our API, you know, if it's really cool, we'll give you a prize. So the gist of it is you can go to developer.giphy.com and find our API docs, or you can jump into Slack, and if you go into #Giphy, I will be there, and you can ask me all the questions about how to get set up, and I'll help you guys out. I'll be here all tomorrow and a little bit later tonight, too.
And the prize that we're offering is everyone on the team gets an Amazon Echo Dot and an Amazon gift card. And if you have any questions about how to use our API or what it's like to work at Giphy, we'll be sitting at the booth in the town lobby.
Cool. Thank you.
Sorry about that, guys. As you can tell, we're really high-tech here at PennApps. We have everything under control. And yeah, we're going to have no more speed bumps this weekend. Looks like I lost my fellow host. But while we're waiting, how many computer programmers does it take to screw in a light bulb? Any answers? I heard it. 0, it's a hardware issue. We're starting original here. Do we have it next?
All right, next up, we have Lyft.
Right. Hello, everyone. Woo. So this says Lyft, but it's actually Andreessen Horowitz with Lyft. Who's heard of Andreessen Horowitz? Ah, okay. All right. Well, a lot more of you will hear about Andreessen Horowitz soon. Where is this? Okay, let me see. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. Okay. All right, let's try that one more time. Technology is hard. All right, so a lot of you have heard about Andreessen Horowitz. A lot of you will be hearing about Andreessen Horowitz later throughout the weekend. So our mission is to connect y'all with the hottest startups like Lyft Airbnb, Pinterest, all of you have heard of them. They're all our portfolio companies. Come and learn how to be part of the College Talent Program. So who's interested in startups? Woo! Okay. And then I also want to shout out just one person who's very special, and he's here just to see what you all are doing. DJ up in the front, he was actually the first engineer here at PennApps. He came and judged and is really excited to be here. So please just come see us at our booth. And then I'll pass it off to Lyft.
Awesome. Hey, guys. I'm Richard. I'm an engineer at Lyft. Hopefully you guys know what we do. We're that app that you use to get a ride. We are sponsoring a prize for the best use of our API. I don't have a demo, unfortunately, but you can imagine what it does. You can link your account, use the API to call for a ride. You can also do things like check for nearby drivers, get fare estimates, etc. Yeah, and for the prize, we're giving out Apple EarPods. Are they called EarPods? Anyways, AirPods. I think they're AirPods.
Well, AirPods.
Yeah. Anyways, Apple AirPods for everyone on the team, along with Lyft backpacks. You can go to lyft.com/developers for the API, and I'm available on Slack. There's a Lyft channel, and I'm Richard on Lyft.
And we're at the same booth, so stop by and come by our table and see both of us. All right, thank you.
All right, next up we have a small startup. Not sure if you guys have heard about them before. They make this web app, I'm told.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Google, I think, something along those lines. All right, let's hear it for them.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Ryan Matsumoto. I'm an engineer at Google, and today I'm going to talk a bit about Google Cloud Platform. So what is Google Cloud Platform? So Google Cloud Platform lets you build and host applications and websites, store data, and analyze data on Google's scalable and reliable infrastructure. So we have a lot of really cool products that you can use, and they're divided into several different categories. So first we have our compute products. I want to point out App Engine. This is our platform as a service product that lets you build and deploy web apps and mobile apps to the cloud. Definitely highly recommend that for this hackathon. We also have our storage products. So we have Cloud Storage, Cloud SQL, and Cloud Data Store, and also our big data and machine learning products. So I want to highlight our latest machine learning APIs. So these allow you to gain insights using Google Cloud's pre-trained machine learning models. These leverage the same innovative technologies that power Google Photos and Google Assistant, and they require zero prior knowledge of machine learning. So we have 5 different machine learning APIs. We have the video intelligence, vision, speech, natural language, and translation APIs. And I'm going to do a quick demo of the video intelligence API. Cool. So here we have this video. I think it's called animals.mp4. So we can click play. And this shows you all the information you can get from this API. So we have video labels, which is basically just telling you what's going on in the video. People, places, things, proper nouns, stuff like that. So it detects an animal, wildlife, zoo, tiger, mobile device, etc., along with the confidence level we have that those appear in the video. And we also have shot change information. So the API has detected that there are 48 individual scene changes within the video, and it detects like when they're changing with start and end times. And also shot labels for each scene. So for example, here we can tell that during this portion of the video, there was a tiger, and now it switches to a giraffe, now just a generic animal, and now a zoo. So a lot of cool, really granular information you can get from there. We also have our Vision API. You just upload an image to the API, and it spits back all this information. So we have this nice tropical photo, detects labels here, along with web entities. This is basically just scouring the web for this image and detecting like what's associated with that image, as well as information about colors, crop hints, safe search information, and the full JSON response. We also have our natural language API. So you can analyze text with this and detect different entities along with their sentiment and the salience of the entities to the document. So a lot of cool stuff there. So we have several different challenges this weekend. First is the best use of our compute and big data products. So the winner gets 4 Google Homes, 4 Daydream virtual reality headsets, and $2,500 of GCP free credits. And we also have a similar prize for the best use of our machine learning APIs. So highly recommend you use Google Cloud in your projects. You can use it in pretty much any project, very easy to integrate. And we also have $100 in free GCP credits. Make sure to pick up one of those coupons from our table. We also have a tech talk tomorrow at 3 p.m. In a Slack channel, and visit us if you have any questions. So now Spriya is going to talk a bit about Android things.
Thanks, Ryan. Hi, everyone. I'm Spriya. I'm a product manager on Android Things. So just a quick show of hands, how many people here develop on Android or are familiar with Android development? OK, so that's a lot of you. What if I told you that from this moment on, now, you're not just mobile app developers. You're also embedded systems, Internet of Things developers, without you guys having to do anything extra. Like, how is this possible, you may ask? Android Things. So this is possible because of Android Things. So Android Things is a version of Android that's been modified to be able to run on not just phones, but on pretty much any device that you want it to run on. So if you think about it, this is really, really powerful. Because previously, to run Android properly, you needed pretty much everything that a phone has. A screen, lots of processing power, memory, etc. But today, you can pretty much run Android on this Android Things on this small little thing called a SOM here, System on Module. You can slap this onto any device that you want, put Android Things on it, and boom, you've got an Internet of Things device, a full-fledged IoT device that you can run apps on, you can connect to the cloud, you can do all sorts of interesting things with it, all without having to have learned any low-level stuff, any assembly language. You don't even have to worry about lower-level embedded systems programming. Pretty much, you can use Android tools, Android's mature ecosystem, Android Studio, whatever you're used to. This is Google's effort to democratize hardware development, and we really, really, really hope you try it. We're still in developer preview, but you can go check us out at developer.android.com/things. And you may ask, OK, where can I find one of these tiny little SOMs? We're actually giving these out. We've got 500 of these that you can check out at the hardware stop. We also have a bunch of useful little peripherals that you might want for your devices. They're all actually nicely packaged into this convenient little dev kit, that, yeah, you can check out. We're also giving a talk tomorrow at 2 p.m., again at Town 100, just before Cloud. So do come by, check it out, and yeah, you should absolutely explore Android Things, because while you're at it, you get to win these cool prizes. We're giving out Pixel XL phones, Daydream headsets, Google Homes, more development kits, Chromecast Ultra, all sorts of fun stuff. But yeah, more importantly, go try out these superpowers that you didn't even know you had. This is actually, I'm really excited about it. It's going to make developing for the Internet of Things really accessible. So definitely go try it. We've got a whole IoT route. Yeah, have fun. Good luck.
All right, I wanted to tell you guys a UDP joke, but then I wasn't sure if you'd get it.
See, this all counts for us, guys. If you're uncomfortably squirming, chuckling, cringing, that's as good as a laugh. Yeah, awkward silence is great, too.
All right, last but not the least, we have our last sponsor, which is BlackRock. Let's hear it for them.
Hey guys, so I'm Charlie Johnson. I'm a software engineer with BlackRock. This is my 3rd time here at PennApps. My first time was the blizzard of 2 years ago, for those of you that remember that. It was an awesome time. Last year, I was here again. Another awesome event. I'm excited to be back again this year with BlackRock. For those of you that haven't heard of us, BlackRock is the world's largest financial technology company. We manage over $5 trillion in assets, but in order to manage that $5 trillion, we build a technology called Aladdin in order to do that. We also take that technology and we sell it to other financial companies, other financial services firms and technology companies to be users of this platform, to in total manage over $20 trillion across the globe on this platform. To show you a little bit today, we are providing an API this weekend, and the best use of the API the winning team will each win each individual on the team will each win a drone. And the API is really focused around, as an access point to financial data, If you want to access things like what was BlackRock's stock return in 2013, you can access things like that. We also have more advanced tools and calculators and data visualization tools that you can leverage within our system. So just to give you a quick kind of sample to show you what our API looks like, we have a full UI page that can help you figure out what your REST API requests are going to be, visualize what the response is coming back, and then you can go port all of those HTTP URLs and all of that over to your code to better use them. So you can build a request fairly easily by just using the input text boxes here. In this example here, I just built an example portfolio of five stocks, each with 25% weight of the portfolio. After you do the request, you can submit it, and you can get back the raw response of what your request would look like, as well as what the request URL is, so that if you want to port this over to your JavaScript code or Python code or whatever language you're writing in to obtain this data. Then we also have data visualization tools that you can use to take this data that you've gotten back and easily embed these data visualizations into your app. If you want some more examples of stuff that you can do with this, we have some JS fiddles across the UI page, as well as a bunch of documentation explaining what different fields are and different things that you can do. We have some experts here on site that come from our financial portfolio analytics group that can help provide you guys with any financial information or anything like that you don't understand. So best of luck this weekend. I wish you guys the best. If you guys have any questions, we are up in Town 319. We have tons of swag, tons of mentors there to help out, so feel free to stop by. Best of luck.
All right, let's give it up one more time for all our awesome sponsors. You can find them all on the first floor of the Town building throughout the weekend, and stop by their tables, check them out.
All right, so this semester we're proud to host a keynote for our opening ceremonies. This is really a guy you should take the time to listen to. He has many achievements, and you really have a lot to learn. The hackathon's a great place to get it started. Coming from Pittsburgh, PA, Charlie Cheever got his start in programming, making games on a TI-85 calculator. Initially working at companies like Amazon and Facebook, he later co-founded Quora, a popular Q&A platform. Fast forward a few years, Cheever founded Expo.io to make the creation of mobile software easier and more accessible to everyone. Now as CEO of Expo, he's here to speak to everyone here. Let's give our utmost attention and a great round of applause to Charlie Cheever. Woo!
Hey, thanks so much for having me. This is amazing. What an honor to be in front of all you guys. Cool. I thought the best way to start would be with me as a freshman in college. This is actually not my freshman year, because when I was a freshman in college, the iPhone hadn't been invented yet. I didn't even actually have a cell phone, and so there are no pictures of me from freshman year of college. But the way things worked was the way you checked your email was you used this thing called Pine at Harvard, where I went, which was like a terminal-based email client. So like normal people, like history majors and stuff, would like SSH into a terminal and then run Pine and check their email using Unix. So one day, like halfway through the year, I noticed that there was also a program called PH, which looked up things in the phone directory. And you could look up anyone at Harvard doing this. I also noticed that if you did cd/home/whatever, you could actually get a listing of every single home directory on the entire system. So I wrote a script that went through in order all 40,000 usernames there and looked them all up in the phone book. And I stored all of those in a text file. And the cool thing about this was it then let you like cross-reference the whole phone directory. I didn't actually know SQL or anything at the time, so it just was a bunch of scripts that did grep and whatnot. But you could look up like who are all of Nick Palazzo's roommates, or here's a phone number, do a reverse phone number lookup, or like who are all the people that live in Wigglesworth Hall, things like that. I thought it was pretty cool. So in my .plan file on Unix, which is sort of like the Unix version of like looking someone up on Facebook, I put a list of all these programs that I wrote that would use this thing, and kind of forgot about it because it wasn't a viral hit or anything. But then during finals week of the end of my freshman year, I got an email from the dean telling me that I needed to appear before the administrative board which means you're in big trouble. And it turns out that on page 152 of the Harvard Student Handbook, there's one sentence that says the compilation of student information from phone directories is strictly forbidden. So I did pretty bad the second semester of freshman year because instead of studying for finals, I was freaking out and writing having my dad call lawyers and making sure I didn't get kicked out of school for doing this. So I ended up not getting kicked out, but I did get sort of I got admonished, a slap on the wrist. So my legacy now from college is that if you now go to the Harvard phone directory website, in the corner there's a statement that says the compilation and redistribution of information from Harvard University directories is forbidden. So that's my real lasting mark I left on college. But what's funny is if there are any administrators here, I know I actually talked to I told this story to Greg Brockman, who's the CTO of Stripe, and he now runs this thing called OpenAI. And he said, actually, the reason I transferred from Harvard to MIT was because at MIT, if you did something like that, they'd praise you and give you an award, whereas at Harvard, they'd kick you out. So any administrators here, if people are doing things with good intentions and a good heart, but might technically be breaking the rules, be a little lenient. It'll be good for your culture. So another story from college. This is a really blurry picture of something called the Last Chance Dance, which is at the end of college, the student government or whatever organizes this thing, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. If you had a crush on someone for all 4 years of college, this is your last chance to go try to make out with them. And so in a hackathon-like thing, the Harvard Computer Society, which I wasn't a part of and wasn't affiliated with, made a web app. I can't find any screenshots of it because it was a long time ago. But basically the idea was you list all the email addresses of all the people you have a crush on, and then everyone else does the same thing. And then if you match with someone, it emails both of you. So it's sort of this was like Tinder before there was Tinder. And so my roommate at the time was a physics major, but he had taught himself some Java, and he was also a nerd. And he came into my room right before this dance, and he said, "Hey, Charlie, I just noticed something. I deleted index.cgi from the URL on the Last Chance Dance email homepage, and it just had a directory listing. And then there was another file, index.cgi.old, that just turns out to be a plain text file with all the source code. And what do you think of this?" And then I said, "Oh, the database password's right here. Too bad we don't have access to the server." And they said, "Actually, I'm the president of the Rock Climbing Club, and our website's on the same server as this app." So he logged into that. And then I said, "I'll take it from here." In the intervening 4 years, I had learned SQL. So I'd select star from every single table, dump it into a text file for safekeeping. And of course, since I was already on thin ice because I'd already been in trouble with the ad board, I was a little afraid of what to do with it. So we both looked ourselves up in here, and being the kinds of guys that spend their Friday nights looking at deleting parts of the URL and websites instead of hanging out, nobody had listed either me or my roommate. That was pretty depressing. So then the next thing I did was, of course, look up my ex-girlfriend, and 7 people had put her down. That was frustrating. But then I didn't do anything with it because I thought it'd be a violation of people's privacy. But I kept the file just because, why not? So over the summer after freshman year, after we graduated from college, one of my friends from college was over visiting me at my house, and I sort of mentioned this story to him, and he was like, "Oh, you got to let me see who put me down." And so I did. I let him see, and 3 people had put him down, and I was a little jealous and annoyed. But he was like, "Oh, that girl was just down the hall from me. She was so cute. I wish I had known this." So from my computer, he sent this email that said, "Dear so-and-so," I'll leave her name out, "I always thought you had such a sartorial elegance about you. I wish I should have said something earlier, but I just wanted to let you know this." Blah, blah. And then it turned out the next time she was in LA, they had the beginning of a beautiful romance that lasted about 12 days, but it was still a beautiful thing nonetheless. So I think the moral of this story is if you're gonna hack something together this weekend, if you're gonna put your database password in the source code, don't make the source code publicly available. This is a picture of me and my friends from the Ultimate Frisbee team. That was the other thing I did really seriously in college. The guy who I have my arm around to my left is named Mark Zuckerman. You might have thought that sounded like Mark Zuckerberg, but no, his name's Mark Zuckerman. And so I met him over the summer before my senior year in Washington, D.C. playing Frisbee. We were both on some competitive draft league team, and he was the best player on our team. And so I was telling all the other people who were seniors on the Ultimate Frisbee team, our captains and stuff, one of the captains on the right there, hey, there's this guy, Mark Zuckerman. He's going to be really good. He's going to be a big, important part of our team next year because he's going to Harvard Law School, actually, and so he's got one more year of eligibility left. And so we got really excited about this. And then we had our activity fair at the beginning of the year. And we collected all the email addresses from all the people who wanted to try out for the team and their name and whatever. And we were going through it, and we saw, Mark Zuckerman, because we'd made sure he'd shown up, and we were already, making sure he was going to play and stuff. And then a few names down, we saw Mark Zuckerberg. And we thought, oh, that must be a mistake or some kind of joke or something. We already know Mark Zuckerman. But then it turns out there was a Mark Zuckerberg coming out for the team. And he showed up at one tournament, the very first tryout tournament, and it was super windy. Not Hurricane Irma windy, but 45 miles an hour or something. And so he was warming up with my friend Kevin, and a gust of wind caught one of the Frisbees and hit him straight in the nose. And he had bleeding everywhere and had to be driven to the emergency room. And that was the end of Mark Zuckerberg's Ultimate Frisbee career. But for the next couple of years, Mark Zuckerberg was just the punchline of like a bizarro Mark Zuckerman joke to me. So I think the moral of this story is that pay attention to all the people you meet in your life, because somebody who's sort of the punchline of a joke might end up being your boss one day. Because after college, I worked at Amazon for a while, and then I did end up working at Facebook. This is a picture of me working at Facebook at the first ever thing I ever went to that was actually called a hackathon. I think it was like the first time I ever heard the word. We did a hackathon at work. And so the whole company just went into this old office that we had just moved out of but still had the lease on. And the guy standing over me is James Wang, who later saved my life using the Heimlich maneuver, but that's a different story. But what we worked on was this thing we called Broadcast, which basically was, this is the Facebook homepage from 2006. And you can tell it doesn't look anything like what you know today, because it was only for college students and there was no news feed or anything like that. It was pretty boring. It just told you how many messages you had and if you got poked. And so we decided we were going to build something called Broadcast. And the idea was that you might want to send a message to all your friends, but not in a way where you'd want to email all of them, but just in a sort of passing way. So we said, okay, and we'll put them in chronological order. And so the most recent one will be at the top, and they'll have a list all the way down. And then we want to have it be a little bit brief because we don't want you to take up too much space. So we'll limit it to 255 characters. And you'll just be automatically subscribed to all your friends. So you'll just get this feed of all this stuff. And so 1 month later, this thing, Twitter, came out. And I think for the last, however many years, 11 years, part of me is just sort of kicking myself because I feel like we invented Twitter a month before Twitter actually came out. But the other part of me knows that we actually were just copying MySpace bulletins, so I don't feel that bad about it. But we actually you never saw this on Facebook, because at the end of this hackathon, somebody told us that, hey, the only way we make money here right now is these flyer things, and the business people might get mad if you do this bulletin or this broadcast thing because it might undermine flyer ad sales. And this was somebody just telling us some kind of rumor, but we basically took this as fact, and we're like, okay, I guess we won't even try to launch it. And then we just grumbled about this for a couple, not really, but a little bit for 2 weeks, and forgot about it. And I think the moral of the story is obviously MySpace Bulletin was popular, Twitter was popular, Newsfeed was super popular. This would have been a product that works and would have been great, and we built it, and it did work technically. And so I just think it's just a really good reminder that when you do a hack type thing, the programming and the building of the thing is only half the battle. And the other half is going out there and doing the politics or talking to people and just doing whatever else it takes to get something off the ground or make it happen and go live. I mean, we had everything done except it actually was part of Facebook and worked on the website, and all we had to do was push the button. But we were too afraid to go to someone and say, hey, is this okay to launch? Also because we had only been working there 6 weeks. But that's a good reminder. So then later on, I was living with this guy named Chris Putnam, who's the arrow on the right is him. And he was sort of grumbling in the same way. He was like, you know, I run a TV station on the internet called GBS TV in my spare time, and we could do video. Like, I know it. I know how to do video on the internet. It's so stupid that Facebook doesn't do video because no one will let me. And I was like, oh, I remember, like, why don't we just talk about it? So I went around and I just started, wheeled my chair over to Mark Zuckerberg's desk and was like, we got to do video. And he was like, there's whole companies that do video, like YouTube. Ever heard of it? And I just sat there for 20 minutes and just like, no, it's not that hard. Putnam knows how to do it. I can do the back end, and like, we'll get Saleo wants to do the design. Saleo is the dude with the bald head there. And so then basically, like, just by running around and talking to people for 20 minutes, we were able to like assemble this like small team that we called like the 4 horsemen of the video apocalypse, and get sign off to launch it. And then we basically just like sat in this was when we were about to launch it, and we added a few other people to the team. But we were mostly in this other little room with red walls called the lava room, and we just put it together in a couple weeks. And it looked like this, the very first version of Facebook video. But the moral of the story here is, like, I feel like you might think if you're at this hackathon that like what you're doing is some sort of like playing at building software, or this is some sort of game or fun thing. But like, this is actually, like, what you're about to do this weekend is how like real things that you use every day actually get built. And so just like, you're doing the real thing and know how important that is. Wanted to share that. This is a picture of me and my other roommate at the time. His name's Will. And one Friday night when I was working at Facebook, I didn't have anything to do. So what I did was I wrote this tool called Lol Bunny that basically like hijacked the search bar in Chrome or Firefox, and instead of like just searching Google, it turned it into a command line. There's a few other things that have done this, but I made a version that was specific to what I wanted. And you could write just like a Python function that would be one of these commands. And so then we made it, like, I added ones to like search the internal wiki, or if you put in a user ID, it would take you to that profile on Facebook, or if you typed in a revision number, it would take you to that revision in the code base and the web viewer of the code. And if you typed in like a support ticket number, it would take you to that, things like that. And so I built this thing in like a couple hours, and I started taking it around to different people to get to launch. And I went over to this guy Will's desk, and I said, hey, like, I built this thing. Why don't you just go to this URL and install it and try it out? I think it's really good. It's saving me a bunch of time. And he said, I've been working on this for months, and I can't believe you just did this to me and like and launched this. And he said, I was working on with this guy Piero, and we wanted to add this feature where you could add your own command from the command line, and it would store PHP code in the database and then execute on the fly. And we thought that was critical before we told anyone that we had finished it. And I think the lesson of the story there is that keep things simple and like launch things. Otherwise, someone else will come along and do the more distilled version of what you did for you. It's actually kind of funny. Apparently, I was over at Facebook the other day, and somebody told me that the only code left that I've written is this tool is still used, and they install it by default when you start at Facebook. And so random people know my name because it's in the documentation for it. So then after I left Facebook, I started this company, Quora. The idea was to be like the best answer to any question, make any question page the best page on the internet for people who want to know the answer to that question. And so that was really fun. Things went pretty well. And so at first, the site was really fast. We built this web framework that was really good, and people used to sort of like ask us to write blog posts about how great we were at building websites and how we made this really real-time website so fast or whatever. But then as we kept adding code to the code base, and there kept being like more answers to questions, and like the pages were bigger, the site started to get kind of slow. And so we decided the way we would fix that is that we would convert the entire site from Python into Scala. This was a terrible idea. Don't ever do this. But basically, we knew we needed to make it fast, and we didn't have any other plan. And so we kept just like trying to grind through it. And so I was in these meetings. When I was the CTO, my role at the time was CTO, and so I was driving this project. And we would all look around, and kind of everyone knew that this was just not going to work and not a good idea. But then we'd also look around the room a second time and be like, does anyone have any better idea? And people wouldn't really have a better idea, so we just keep going. But then the guy, the Asian dude with the arrow pointing to him, his name was Albert. and he just said, I have to take a vacation. And he went, and he didn't go anywhere. He actually just stayed home in San Francisco for 2 weeks. And when he came back, he had come up with some way to parallelize the generation of the site in Python and make it like literally 8 times. It cost like 10 times as much, but it was about 8 times faster. And so he basically just like, by like stepping back, taking a break, and just disappearing, he had just sort of done this hack that that just like saved, you know, a year of 10 people's engineering time, and like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it necessarily saved the company, but it was like somebody would have had to do that at some point. And so I think that there's just like a long tradition at companies of this kind of like vacation hack type thing, where people just go off and do a project that they couldn't get sign off on without just like making it actually happen. And so if you ever go work at a company and you find yourself where you know something is right or you really believe you can do something, I'd encourage you to just like take vacation days and go prove it with code, because that's super cool. So I'm going to rewind a little bit back in time. These are screenshots from a game I made called Quadrax, which is just a Tetris clone, obviously, as you can tell from the screenshots. And this was really the first time I ever like did anything that was like sort of a really intense hackathon type thing. For some reason on a Saturday in, I guess, 1996, I was 14 or 15, I just sat down for 9 straight hours at my computer. And we didn't have the internet then, so I definitely wasn't like checking Reddit or anything during this. But I just wrote this whole thing, like pretty much as you see it here, like complete, in like one long sitting. And it was pretty fun, actually. Like, I would actually play it all the time, and my sister would play it sometimes. And I like gave it to some friends, and I was like, for being like 14 or 15 and making this, I was pretty proud of it. But you know, it's just a Tetris clone, so it wasn't like, you know, there are a million of those. And I had it online somewhere, but then like we canceled our account with that ISP, and then I had it on my computer at Harvard, but then that account got deactivated. I had it on a hard drive somewhere, but then that computer died. So it kind of got lost in the sands of time. But once I started working on Quora, we decided that after we built the initial version of the product that we needed to sort of bootstrap the content, and that we were going to do that sort of through sheer force of will. And what this meant was that like we had a rule that was called PIOTS. It was PIOTS, which stands for put it on the site. And what it means is that every time a question popped into your head of like any variety, you were supposed to go put that question on the website so that people would come along and answer it later maybe, and then we would build up this body of content. And so about a month or two after we sort of launched the beta of Quora, at one point I was like, I wonder what ever happened to that, if anyone in the world has a copy of that Quadrax game that I made forever ago, because I can't find it anymore, but it's sort of like, be a nice thing to have, sort of like the way an old photograph is. So I put it on the site. And then, like, 3 years later, some enterprising young man named Sean Ocharzik, I met him once, he's actually really nice. He like scoured the internet and found a copy somewhere on Usenet and managed to download it and make it work. And it was super amazing. And so that was really cool. So I think the lesson of the story is there is, I'd say, pay for Dropbox, so that if you make anything cool at a hackathon, you can just keep it yourself instead of having to build a human-powered search machine years later to recover it. So after I left Quora, I didn't totally know what to do with myself. So I was going around taking meetings with people. One of them was with this guy. If you don't recognize him, the dude in this stylish V-neck is Evan Spiegel, who started Snapchat. He probably wouldn't remember this meeting because he was just going around talking to lots of people who were supposed to be pretty good at engineering. But I chatted with him a little bit, sort of trying to give him advice, although clearly didn't need any. And I think he was also trying to hire a VP of engineering, but we weren't a really good fit. But we talked a little about the product at the end, and one thing I said was sort of like, oh, you know, I think it would be really good if you just like could save the pictures in Snapchat. Because like the way that Facebook works and the way that Quora works is that it's just like you just keep accumulating content, and then there's more and more and more in this sort of corpus of content. And then people can come and find this old stuff, and there's just more and more stuff. but if you just delete the photos, then like it doesn't contribute to this body of content. And he kind of like looked at me like, you just don't get it. You're crazy, and this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then at the time, I sort of didn't really get Snapchat because it was only being used by like high school girls. And I think the general perception of the company from people who'd only read TechCrunch was that it was just a way to send dick pics and things like that. So of course I didn't get it. So then for a couple of years, I was like, you know what? I was so dumb. I didn't even realize the extent to how much the Facebook mindset and the Quora mindset of like, you build up this accumulated body of content, and you just keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it, and then you get people to come and look at that content, and then they make more, and that's the way things work. Like, that had become so ingrained in me as like, this is just an assumption that is just like part of everything you do in the way you think, that like something that broke that model but created a lot of value was like even hard for me to get my head around at all. So I was like, oh, I was so wrong and so dumb. But then, you know, like about a year ago, Instagram added Snapchat like stories to its stuff and like has been doing really, really well with that. And so, and like really slowing Snapchat's growth. And so then I sort of like, wait, actually maybe I was right all along that if you added like some sort of permanence into this as well, that would actually be smart. And so I think the sort of meta lesson here is like, over time, the things that you, like when you look back and try to like distill these lessons learned from your life experiences, like what you think you might have learned might even be wrong. And so take everything with a grain of salt. So that goes for everything I'm saying to you today, and everything you think you know. Because you might be right and then wrong and then right and then wrong again. So here's the next thing. So I was still looking for things to do. Obviously didn't end up working at Snapchat. And so then this is like one of the things I wanted to do. I was basically obsessed with mobile apps because I was like on my phone all the time, and I thought it was the only interesting thing. So one of the things I wanted to build was this thing called Schuber. It could have been called Shift, but it doesn't sound as good. So what Schuber is it's like Uber, but it's free, and only my friends are allowed to use it, and I'm the only driver on it. And so I really wanted to build this because I was bored, and so like from Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I had nothing to do except like play video games. And so, but I wanted to like catch up with people, but without like scheduling coffee for 2 weeks from now. I wanted to just be able to drive around and then just like have people like say, hey, I need a ride to the airport, and I'll be like, oh, I got you. And so like this is like an idea that was like, I think would have been really fun and really cool if I could have built it in a weekend. But like I knew enough about making mobile apps to know it would have taken me like 9 months to actually do it. And then it would have been iPhone only, and so all the people I knew had Androids would be sort of out of luck. And I don't have that many friends, so I wanted to add as many people we could have as possible. Since I couldn't, like, I didn't want to spend like 9 months of my life like building Schuber. I wanted to spend like a weekend of my life building it. I've now spent like the last 2 years building a solution to this problem. And that's called Expo. So Expo is a way to build, share, and explore apps. The way you build apps, everything works on iPhone and Android right away. And they're like legit iPhone and Android apps. Like they're using the native UI scroll views or the analog on Android, native widgets, also like that. So they look and feel like real native apps, not things built with web views. Everything's written just in JavaScript. And you can use your own editor, Emacs, VI, VS Code, Atom, whatever. The way that that works is that we basically let you write in JavaScript, and you have all the batteries included. So it includes like Facebook login, native maps, camera access, Facebook login, ads, geolocation, a gyroscope, accelerometer, everything like that. And it works on Mac, Windows, and Linux. So you don't need Xcode or Android Studio. So we're actually really popular in Southeast Asia because there's a lot of people there with iPhones, but who can't afford Macs. And so this is one of the only ways they can build like legitimate iOS apps. It's all built on top of open source technology. Like one of the most important pieces of the puzzle here is React Native, which is used in production by like Airbnb, Facebook, Walmart, Uber, and then React and these other things. So if you're familiar with doing web development, especially with React, it feels really natural and familiar to you. And all of Expo is open source. It's just like a free open source project. So if you need to add a feature to it or something's missing, or you want to figure out why something isn't working, you can always just dig into the source code. And then you can also share these things, because I think like once you've done web development, the paradigm of like using TestFlight and plugging your phone into your computer with a wire and all these other things is really frustrating and stupid. So the way that Expo works, basically every project has a URL. And so you can just open that URL in the Expo client, that's the Expo app in the iOS App Store or the Android App Store. And then the project will immediately open on your phone. And so you can do development collaboratively this way, things like that. You can also publish to the sort of Expo hosting service so that your computer can be closed and like other people can load their app this way as well, sort of the way they do with like a website. And then you can also ship to the app stores. So you can run one command and get a build for iOS and an APK for Android. So you can upload to the app stores. You can also explore, since everything is just a URL and can be loaded inside the Expo client. If you go to expo.io, you can search for all kinds of different things. So you can look through all the different things that people are making, a Minecraft clone, a Russian propaganda site that's actually real. Somebody made the other day, I think this was 3 days ago, some guy made a My Little Pony photo booth for his daughter's 4th birthday. And there's lots of really cute things. Some of the other things that I saw recently that are really cool are a Game of Thrones fantasy app where you get like points if Daenerys kills people and she's on your team. And a game sort of like Heads Up, but with instead of like words, it uses emojis. And it works where it can use the accelerometer so it can detect when you tilt the phone up and down and things like that. It's also totally free and open source. I mentioned that already. And so like you can feel confident using it. And if you want to try this, if you just go to snack.expo.io in your web browser, in about 90 seconds, you can be playing around with stuff on your phone. And so if you want to try this out this weekend, you can come. We're going to be hanging out in town 311, me and some other people who work on the project. You can also email me or tweet us at expo.io. And my friend Nick, who works on the project also, is going to be building a meme generator live, from like a complete meme generator from start to finish in 45 minutes at 9 p.m. at Woonchen Auditorium, if you want to learn how to do it there. And we're also doing a prize for the coolest Expo app. So if you build the coolest app in Expo, you get, all your team gets Nintendo Switches. They're pretty fun. I just played it the other day. And also, if you make Chuber in Expo, I will probably invest in it. So anyway, thanks so much for having me, and it's such an honor, and happy hacking.
All right, thank you again so much. That was an incredible speech. These are really things you can learn from, guys. And again, with this hackathon, you can see how you can make a real impact with what you do.
All right, I'm just going to wait for, okay. Important stuff, as I say up there. These are some very important rules that we'll go through right now that you should definitely keep in mind. So when you checked in, you all signed a code of conduct. Now, hopefully you did not read the code of conduct like you read the iOS 10 terms and conditions. In case you did, here's some salient points. Please be respectful to other hackers. Let organizers know if something happens that makes you uncomfortable or feel unsafe. We're definitely here to make sure you have a great experience throughout the weekend. Shoot us an email at conduct@pennapps.com and we'll help you out. And if you want to find someone in a light blue shirt that's running around all weekend making sure this is a great event, grab them and let them know, and they'll be able to help you out as well. You can always find the complete policy at pennapps.com/policy/conduct. This is one part of the ceremony they said we can't make any jokes about.
Not that we're going to totally listen.
True. And so make sure, whatever you do, it's completely legal, and we don't want to take any liability for that stuff. If you don't do this, we will have to remove you from the building.
And you don't want to see Drew angry, believe me.
Things that are definitely banned at this event and in engineering and at PennApps: alcohol, drugs, and tobacco.
Yeah, you guys don't need any of that to code. You're not Erlich Bachman. Please don't try anything.
We will confiscate these things. There are no electronic cigarettes allowed in the building and no unwanted fires. If you need an ID to buy it, it's probably off limits.
All right, now we've got some announcements from MLE. Yeah, here he is. All right.
Hey, everyone. My name is Jakob, and I'm from Major League Hacking. And with me, I have Chi Nguyen, who's our lead commissioner, and Mike Swift, who is our CEO and co-founder. So let's give them a round of applause. Who here is excited for the much anticipated PennApps16? Woo! All right, so I'm going to go over a lot in this presentation, but don't sweat it if you miss like a particular link or something. But you do want to get a photo of this master link here. It's going to have information about a bunch of like free things that I'm going to mention to you that you're really going to want to know about. So I'll give you a moment there. Everyone good? Awesome. Okay, so like I said, I'm from Major League Hacking. I'm really proud to be a coach. It's my pleasure to spend my weekend with all of you, and I can't wait to see what y'all build. So some of you might be at your first Major League Hacking hackathon. Raise your hand if that's the case. Wow, awesome. Woo! Thank you all for coming out. So you might be wondering what Major League Hacking is. Well, we're the official student hackathon league, and we strive to support the hacker community to the fullest extent. And our goal is to let you leave this weekend having learned a lot in a safe and positive environment. We serve over 65,000 hackers globally, including yourselves. And the best way to earn points for your school is to bring your friends. And these points, you accumulate them, you'll get a Hacker Club makeover for your university if your school gets the most points at the end of the year. So what's MLH doing this weekend? We're going to be doing a ton of awesome activities, including laser tag tonight and capture the flag tomorrow, where you'll get access to some of our brand new season t-shirts that I don't even have yet. And you'll also want to stop by our photo booth, the pictures of which will be uploaded on our Facebook page, which you can find at that master link. Definitely come check out our hardware lab. I know you've probably heard about it, but before you come to us, you should first go to that link on the next slide, hardware.mlh.io. There we go. We're also partnering with Qualcomm. You might have seen the Dragon board on the previous slide. They're our official IoT partner. The team that makes the best hack using the Qualcomm Dragon board will get their own Qualcomm Dragon board for each team member. And we have a bunch of other awesome hardware that you should check out and make requests for. We also have a bunch of software developer resources, including $100 of free Amazon Web Services. As you know, most of the internet is built, or much of the internet is built on Amazon Web Services, so definitely take advantage of that. And the team that makes the best AWS hack, each member will get $250. And domain.com is also giving you free domains, so once you make that web app, you're going to want to deploy it and point it to your own custom domain. You get a free .com, .net, or .org domain, and the punniest domain will win a Raspberry Pi kit. What I mean by punniest, I was at another hackathon recently where someone made a real estate website, and their domain was houseitgoing.com. All right, some of you are grimacing, so if you could do better, register a punny domain. It takes like 10 minutes, and you might win. A new partner that we're working with is Softion. They do free payments APIs. If you're thinking of doing a commercial app, definitely come grab a card from our table. And the GitHub Student Developer Pack, raise your hand if you have it. All right, for those of you that didn't raise your hand, do it ASAP. It's got thousands of dollars of free software resources available to you just for being students. Our friends at GitHub are also doing a drawing contest. So just make sure if you do draw your own version of the GitHub Octocat to tweet at myOctocat and also tweet PennApps16. And they will look at all the submissions, and you might win a life-size Octocat figurine. See, these are some of the prizes that I mentioned that are, if your hacks are eligible, it's also in that link that I brought up. Soylent is doing a similar drawing contest. Grab a bottle of Soylent from our snack table. It's a great way to get a quick snack in. Draw on the bottle, tweet again at Soylent Canvas, and tweet PennApps16. You might win a month's worth of Soylent. All right, how many people grabbed the Wake chocolates? All right, take it easy on those because each chocolate has half a cup's worth of caffeine in it. Half a cups of coffee, caffeine, yeah. So definitely come grab some of that. All right, how many of you have seen these stickers? So we have a limited edition I demoed sticker at each hackathon for each project that gets demoed. So the only way that you'll get that sticker is if you stick it out this weekend and finish your project and demo. If you need help, look at all the people around you. There's a bunch of people who might be familiar with some tech that you're not familiar with. Come talk to me. I might be able to help debug, and talk to the organizers who can help you find a mentor. So something new we're doing is a lot of companies love to hire engineers who spend their weekend building things for fun. So definitely come check that out. We have some flyers at our booth. I know it's hiring season. I know you want this, so definitely check it out. And like I said, the season t-shirts, these aren't the current ones. The current ones, like I said, I don't even have it. You can come get it tomorrow at our mini event. Capture the flag, so definitely come by to that. And last but not least, on a serious note, I brought up all the cool things that we're bringing to you, but I need your help. As the organizers mentioned earlier, there is the code of conduct in place that we'd like you to abide by. It's basically just saying harassment and abuse are not tolerated, so that's pretty easy to get behind. If you see it happening to you or somebody else, please do talk to the organizer, as we do want to make sure that this hackathon is a safe space for everyone. Last, I want to just give a round of applause to our companies that make MLH possible. And with that, I want to thank you all for your time, and let's get hacking.
All right, guys, so we've got some more announcements here. We're going to try and fly through them real quick. First off, for hardware. For those of you guys interested in hacking on hardware, the full list of the hardware given to you guys by PennApps is available at hardware.pennapps.com.
You know, some people have told us that our hardware is huge.
You can check out our parts if you have a valid ID in Greenberg Auditorium starting at 8 p.m. 3D printing and laser cutting will also be available from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. On Friday, and then from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday. Sorry, that was 8 p.m., not 8 a.m. This information is also all available on the hardware website, so make sure to look there if you need to do anything.
PennApps Slack. Oh, guys, can we settle down for a second here? This will only take a couple minutes. Let's make sure we don't crowd. Thank you. PennApps Slack is also live. You should have gotten an invite when you checked in. If you are not on it, please send an email to contact@pennapps.com. We'll be using the hashtag announcements channel throughout the weekend to make sure any important announcements for events, swag, and more awesome stuff. If you're a mentor, you should have been added to the hashtag mentor channel. If you're not on it, please also let us know.
Yeah, and if you're not a mentor and you somehow are on the mentor channel, we all know what sudo rm-rf does. Please no trolling. You know the deal. In terms of mentorship, we have mentors available around the clock. They're all here to help you out, and they'll be available in the engineering cafe. If you guys don't want to get up and go look, we have qa.pennapps.com, where you can ask your own questions and crowdsource answers from other hackers, as well as be paired up with other mentors in order to really find someone who knows the type of technology you're trying to work with. Team formation will be held at 8 p.m. in Town 100.
And don't worry if you can't find any friends or teammates. You know, I got a great project idea for you. Build some.
Or you can just build me a new co-host. There are some 20 workshops we'll be offering starting from 9 p.m. tonight and then 11 a.m. tomorrow. They'll be every hour, and this is a great way to really develop a new idea or find a new technology you're excited about.
All right, and as you may have heard throughout the event so far, we have some really awesome routes, which are cool themes that like-minded people can work on throughout the weekend. We have exclusive special prizes for these, mentors, and events going on throughout the weekend as well. We have 5 routes this year: Google Cloud Platform, Android Things, real-world hacks, education, and VR, AR, or cybersecurity. Please check out our dev post if you have any questions about these. Do keep in mind, though, that you can only submit to at most 1 route. You're free to attend any events that you want to, but when it comes to submission, you can only submit to 1 route.
So in the past, we've had a health and social civic hacking separate routes. These have been super successful, and we've had a lot of people interested in them. They've seen some great development further on in ventures. But this year, we've combined them into one. So that's the real-world hacks. And tonight, we're going to be having a symposium. Sorry about that. It is going to be in Town 216, and we'll be teaming up with the Penn Center for Healthcare Innovation, the Penn Center for Innovation, the Penn Wharton Entrepreneurship, and School of Nursing for this symposium. So it's at 9 p.m. If you guys are interested in this kind of thing, it's a really cool place to kind of hear some of their challenges and figure out if you can work with them on a really cool project.
All right. Now, do not leave your stuff unattended at any point throughout the weekend. This is a security risk, and we will not be responsible for any lost items. Please make sure that you have all your stuff with you at all times. Now, Wi-Fi, which is probably the most important thing for everyone working at Hack this weekend. A huge shout out to Penn Engineering and Penn in general. We have beefed up the Wi-Fi infrastructure again for the 5th time in a row this year. And you can find the codes on pennapps.com/program. If you have any questions, please find an organizer in light blue shirt and they can help you out. Please give the Wi-Fi at least 30 minutes to settle down. Don't all log in at once. And please try to keep the number of devices that you're connecting to a minimum. As for hotspots, do not, under any circumstances, start a hotspot on your phone. This will slow down the internet for everyone around you and possibly everyone in the building as well.
Yeah, so food, the next big topic, guys. One big thing is we have enough food for everyone, and there's really no need ever to be running, pushing in line, shoving. Make sure you get there on time. We're not going to let people get food early, so just show up when it shows up on live.pennapps.com, and yeah, follow the instructions of all the volunteers. Try and listen, try and be courteous. We know there's a lot of people, and you all get hungry, but we'll try and get you through as quickly as possible.
For those of you not from Penn, the travel desk will be open tomorrow from 12 p.m. noon to 7 p.m. If you're a domestic student, you will be able to get reimbursed through Venmo. Please be patient with the staff. They have a lot of requirements and rules they got to follow for the university. And there's 1,200 of you out here, so we got to make sure everyone gets processed in due time.
Yeah, so one really important point for all of you guys who are planning to submit a hack. DevPost is going to be used for that, and we will be opening at 8 a.m. on Sunday. Sorry, we'll be closing at 8 a.m. Sunday. You guys should be making an account now or right when you leave this room if you plan to submit. We have tons of people who have problems with last-minute submissions. Also very important, we don't take late submissions, and we only take teams of a maximum of 4. If you have a maximum of 5, there's no getting around this. We've had teams in the past with problems. Really try your best to stick to that. Give yourself 2 to 3 hours to submit and try and avoid any difficulty you might find there.
You can find all our social media handles on there. Follow us, tweet at us, check out our Snapchat, and just make sure that you're updated on the weekend. We will also be bringing back humans of PennApps, as Matt had mentioned earlier. These are people be going around taking photos, interviewing you. So be sure to grab one of the photographers if you're interested in sharing your story on the Humans of PennApps page. A few important sort of announcements for things happening that are really cool. Women's Hacker Meetup is happening tonight at 11 p.m. in Town 100. The High School Hackers Meetup is happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Fire Pits. There's a 5K tomorrow as well at 5 p.m. Lots of fives there. You can check out live.pennapps.com for the complete list of schedule for all the events going on.
Yeah, and with that, we want to thank you guys for all being here, for staying in the room, for dealing with us. And we can't wait to see what you guys make this weekend. Dinner and hacking officially start at 8.
Good luck on your mission, agents. Thank
you.